Hello, friends and followers and Drake aficionados. So here's a Drake R4B, and I've taken apart the bandpass LC circuitry, at least the mechanical part, as I couldn't get this thing to move back and forth. So all these four coils for each bandpass are on a spring-loaded, ganged plate. As you can see, I can push these in and out like that. This shaft here, I was looking for some eccentricity in the shaft of how those move, and I don't really want to take the shaft out in case something depends on it and it drops into the mechanism, because I don't really want to take the rest of this box apart, so I'm not going to do that. But what I found was when I put this back together, I could turn this, and these coils are supposed to move in and out, and it wasn't working. So what I found was this whole assembly depends on the front knob here being loaded, meaning that there's a bit of loading in these coils and they're pulled back. So if you can watch this knob here, I can actually pull this knob or pull this shaft out toward the front like that. And when I pull that shaft out toward the front, you'll notice that these will pull back. So somewhere in here there's a cam. Anyway, it matters not. So in restoring this radio as much as I could, cleaned up this shaft with a Brillo pad. It's aluminum, so it cleaned up pretty well. And so let's put this back together. So you can insert the shaft in the front of the radio like this, and it goes right through. You'll want to then get it onto the keyed groove in this brass fitting. Just turn it until it slips in. There it goes, and it should match one of the filter settings that you're used to. So I'll push this in very gently. I got one hand going on here, so it's a little hard. I'm gonna maybe hold the board here and push it with one hand, two hands. Here we go. There. So that's in there, and you can check it out by rotating the switch here to select your different bandpass filters, LC filters. Okay, now that's done, we want to put in this little guy here that basically is it's a thickness reducer. Oh, okay, now look. So yeah, now the shaft is gone. So I want to push this shaft back out from here. So yeah, you probably don't need to take this apart. If these aren't really, if the shaft needs to get pushed out, you can put a screwdriver in through here and just hit the nut of this thing. So you can just hit the nut on one of these and push this whole thing out. Actually, no, you can't. You want to push this thing. Yikes, how do you do that? I don't know. You want to push that rod when the cover's on. How do you do that? You probably, yeah, you probably want to put a screwdriver into the corner there and just hit it like that. Anyway, I'm going to push this rod back in, and when I push that rod back in, it will give me access to the front of the rod where I can put this little bushing on here. So I'm going to hold this rod back now a little bit. I'm going to hold my hand on it and try to, with one hand, try to push it here a bit. I know I'm not showing it in the camera. Okay, so did that. And now I think what you want to do is you want to preload this thing. So you want to make sure that the rod is out far enough. Let me get some light on here. So now you want to make sure the rod is out far enough and then clamp it with the knob. So the knob and the tension on the knob holding this shaft outward, holding the shaft toward the front of the radio, is integral to how these slugs will perform. So if that knob is not tensioned right, these won't move in and out at all. So there must be a cam in here, a cam that's hitting that spring-loaded mechanism. So anyway, so here's the typical knob, and I can just put this back on here. Now notice that if I don't tension these, and if I just put the knob on here, it's not going to work because you have to have some tensioning on this thing. It's got to get preloaded. So if I were then to tighten this knob up and do nothing to the tension, just tighten it like that a little bit, turn it. So you'll see that this little cam thing will move here, but, well, yeah, they are moving. So, yeah, they're moving. Well, maybe that's good enough. Maybe they had, in their wisdom, you just, you put it in like that and it works. So that looks pretty good, actually. Looks like it's right on the nose. Drake engineering at its best. Well, I stand corrected. There is no pretensioning. Let's put the knob on there, and the knob is part of the assembly, though, because the knob is now putting force against the end shaft here, and it's pulling that. Then the cam is causing it to pull. So if this shaft is entirely loose without a knob, it won't work. The knob has to be on for the cam to engage and pull these slugs back with that cam. So anyway, that's Drake Passband 101 on the R4B. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's helpful. I don't think you ever got to take this thing apart, but if you have to, there's some screws here to take out, here and here, 4 screws, 2 screws there. Unsolder 2 little joints there, and it'll come out. So, and what does the back of this thing look like? I see somebody checked it off for quality there too. So there's a little adjuster, and I'm guessing what this is really doing is it's adjusting the end play, which is rather interesting. So it hits against that rotating part and just adjusts the end play so it can't go down any further. That's interesting. Okay, well, I hope this is helpful to somebody anyway in the Drake world. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. It's Monday, it's President's Day, and I'm working on radios. Working on this one anyway. This one got a huge cleaning job last night on it, and it's not quite back to spec yet. I've probably waterlogged something in the radio that has water in it still, and it's still not working right, so gotta take the hair dryer of this thing and dry it some more. I don't know if it's worth really cleaning a radio really hard to make it clean. It's like, you can ruin the radio doing that, so I haven't ruined one yet, but I don't know. It does look better when it's clean, but if you're going to use these for a museum piece, I guess you want to have them clean. And you just have more pride when things clean. So I did get the PTO back in here, as you can see. This one is wicked smooth. I mean, this thing is really nice now. I hadn't taken apart one of these PTOs yet on the R4B. You never had to because they usually work well. You just put some lubrication in there and they perk right up. But this one was grindy and sticky. It's real smooth now. I still got to calibrate the PTO with the receiver. It's probably not quite right on. So that worked out well. I don't think the back of this thing turned out as good as I wanted. Probably if I kept detoxing it, it might come out better, but you risk damaging the radio and it takes a lot of work, so it's like, it's probably clean enough for now. Clean enough for me. There was a huge green spot there and here. There's still a bit of green on the radio here and there that I missed. Crystals even came out a little cleaner. I guess I want to clean off this shaft here, get the rust off this thing. Cleaned off that shaft, as you know, and I cleaned off this one pretty well. So it looks pretty good in here now. Anyway, gave this a buff. Museum quality. I guess I could clean this up a little bit. You don't want to clean too hard, though, because you'll take off the coating. All right, well, that's about it. I want to get this thing working now and get it receiving again. It's going to get the hair dryer treatment to get, there's probably some moisture in these IF cans or something hanging around. It's got a crack also. I want to get these things really hit with the hair dryer and see if it works. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.